I'm bringing this video to you in collaboration with An Eventful Life, who have kindly given me this amazing opportunity which I cannot wait to talk to you about. So you may have seen in one of my previous videos I did a voiceover of mine and Jam's round at Swalcliffe Park, where we were lucky enough to win our first BE80. This video, whilst you'll be looking at the same round, is arguably a lot more educational and interesting because I have none other than, drumroll please, Lissa and Lucinda Green taking us through my round at Swalcliffe, giving me advice and tips on how I should ride it, how I could improve in the future, and what I did well. So it really was quite mind-blowing to hear them talking about me as a rider and to put it with the footage, but it's such an amazing opportunity to have these world-class riders talking about me and in competition conditions as well. Obviously, we often go for lessons as riders, but we never really get feedback of how we ride at a competition. We can't always afford to have our coaches come with us or they're off competing. So it really is something that you don't really get an opportunity to do as a rider. So it's absolutely amazing to have this feedback, to have this information, and I've come away with so many things to work on, which, considering we're in lockdown, is very useful. If you stay tuned until the end, I will give you more information on how you could get involved, how you can have a top rider go over your rounds. But I am keen to get into this video for you guys. I'm sure that Lissa and Lucinda need no introduction, but in case people have been living under a rock, I will give them a brief introduction before we get started. So Lucinda Green is arguably an absolute legend of the sport. She's represented Team GB in the Olympics. She's ridden in numerous world and European championships, and perhaps most impressively has won badminton a record-breaking 6 times. Can you imagine that? So Lucinda competed when it was 4-star, but it is now changed to 5-star. She is without fail a complete mastermind of eventing. She really knows her stuff, and she's also taught some of the top riders of today. So quite nerve-wracking to have her looking at my round, but also completely amazing. She is definitely one of the top eventers that the sport's ever had. So incredible to have her looking at my round. Then of course we have Lissa, who is Lucinda's daughter. She is definitely following in her mum's and Olympic father's footsteps. She had her badminton debut in 2017 and has since returned on a different ride. She's had numerous international rides and has a string of amazing horses. I'm sure we'll be watching many of them for years to come, doing some pretty exciting stuff. So those are the 2 5-star riders who are going to be going over our round and teaching me. Let's jump right in.
This is Megan Elphick riding Jamelia in the BE80 at Swalcliffe Park in 2020. Just coming into the start box now. Oh God, what a lovely horse. Well done, good encouragement.
Suspicious.
I would perhaps leave the start box with a little bit more determination and gusto if she's a bit of a look at the first couple of fences. Tell her you mean business.
I think that would all help because she's very green and not
into fence
not
2.
badly green. But I just feel she could. That was so much better.
At fence
she
3.
could be helped by just getting out of that start box and saying, "Come on, let's go hunting." That's more positive.
Yeah. Coming into your first combination at fence 4. Oh, lovely. Well done. Yeah, really well ridden. Kept her straight and on the job, and she's really listening to you now.
She's taking you now, and that's what you want to get. And sometimes it takes a few fences for them to warm up before they feel confident enough to take you. This looks like a bit of an interspace. Yes, so she has a look.
I'm just pausing that. We're now at minute 20, and you'll just jump the first element of the second combination. As she comes in, it almost feels you lose a bit of connection with the hand and therefore some conversation with her brain. And I feel you could help that a bit by just sitting behind, almost sitting your shoulders up and squeezing with your leg, but keeping that hand contact there and supporting her mentally. And perhaps she wouldn't question you so much, because oddly, those fences that have gaps underneath them, which you can see just behind you, they often don't read them so well, so they might need a little bit more time with security coming in to tell them that I'm here for you and we are going to jump this together. So I just go rewind the video and jump. We watch coming into that again. This is the second combination. Just hold there and squeeze. Yeah.
I feel that you're doing a really...
We're pausing again.
Yeah, I feel you're doing a really good job, but I feel you've got lovely long legs, and I would actually try and use them more. I always talk about putting the horse in the tube, and I feel she's looking for the security from your hand, as Lissa says, and from your leg. And that's not to mean that you suddenly whack your legs around and yank her teeth out. Just cuddle her with those lovely legs that you've got. And some people don't have anything like such a nice long leg. And I think you'd find she really relish that security of her leg, your leg,
that
as
blue
well
roll
as
top. Coming down to the
Lissa said, your
downhill
hand.
double. And pressing play again. We're in a minute 27. Interesting, I'm just pausing there. We're at 1:47, so you just jumped part A of that downhill, and I think there looks to be a ditch at the bottom there. So because there's so much for the horse to see here, remember they haven't walked the course, and the fact that she has to take in the whole ditch, the falling away ground, and she's got a part C to come out over as well, it looks here. I would have come back into a much shorter canter and really said, look, you've got to come here. Because of this short canter, I automatically give you more time. I want to get closer to part A. So as you take off, the closer you are to fence, the slower they take off because they jump up rather than out. She almost second-guessed you because she took off, and then you notice that slight jolt in the air. She goes, whoa, I've got something else on landing, and I got no warning. So for me, although you survived very well, if I did that again, I would go, come right back to me. I want a stride length as half as what we have, and I want you to really listen because there's more than meets the eye at this fence.
Now, I'd add to that I could not agree with you more on trying to achieve the coffin canter so the horses have that little bit extra time to see that there is a ditch and to see that there is room to land before it. However, when they're green and not really connected, coffin canter is not so easy to achieve. Downhill, it is easier, but do you ever at home work your horse in canter down a hill and practice going shorter and shorter and shorter and getting her to carry herself downhill, not just be leaning against you, because you can't just suddenly create that coffin canter. That's something you have to work on at home, and the downhill should actually be your help. But if she's not really engaged and able to do it yet, then you almost be better in a small trot, but it would want to be small with lots of leg.
Yeah, I agree. Trot is such an underrated pace for cross country. It's extraordinarily helpful. So I'm just going to rewind back to jump over that fence again so we can have another look. And we're at a minute 42 and we are playing. So here hold, but with leg. And give her time. Here would be no bad thing to be in trot either, just before the ditch. Well done. There you go. And that was fantastic because with trot you have time. And if I pause again at a minute 57, when a horse is in trot, they only have one hind leg on the ground at a time, and therefore it's much more difficult for a horse to stop or run out. When they're in canter, both hind legs come down at the same time, and that is really easy for them to jam on the brakes or push the rest of their body out to the left or right and have a run out. Trot is definitely your friend, and you did really, really well to get her to CC and come out so well.
This is a lovely go-y
That's
pace.
positive. That's beautifully ridden.
Uphill fence, it was asking for that sort of approach that you gave it.
Fantastic. Coming to the water now.
When did she see the water?
Oh, wow.
She's brave to water. She didn't bother at all, did she?
Really, really well ridden. You kept her straight. You had the perfect spot and perfect canter coming into that. It was impressive. Coming to the double after the water. Really nice.
She's holding a much better line now. And when she started, bless her, she was wiggly and, as they are when they're a bit green, wiggly and wormy, but she's getting much more confident now.
Yeah, she's totally growing in this whole round. You've done a fabulous job together. Now we're coming to the double of the two oxes. Very interesting.
Yes.
What would you say, Mum, about focusing on the fence?
She doesn't
pressing
cite the
pause?
second element, does she? Where are we stopping?
We're at 2:56, but if I go back to that combination, Let's go to 2 minutes 50, we'll pause, and only at 2 minutes 50 does the horse see part B. If you notice, after jumping element A of those airy oxes, she does 3 or 4 strides looking straight ahead. She has absolutely no idea there's another fence coming. And focus is the biggest part of riding, and it's got to be the beaming of your eyes and your determination that the horse must learn to pick up on and know that something else is coming next. So if you just start to train and do little things at home where you jump fences off the edge of the corner, off the edge of the arena, so they're never coming into a fence until 2 strides phase. So for example, canter down the long side and then come into an upright on an angle that you would normally jump straight. Give them that opportunity to react to your body and your focus and your intuition rather than actually knowing what's coming next, and therefore she'll be able to pick up what you're doing over on the cross-country course.
So if we were being really educational here, I'd say that I talked earlier about your legs forming a tube around her, and it's just a cuddle, it's not hard. Now if you'd had her in that tube coming in to this oxa, in the air that tube could have turned her whole body, your 2 lovely long legs could have turned her whole body, and you already look to be looking at part B, but she's absolutely not. Let's move it forward and see. Is it a she, by the way, Jamela? Yes, I think she is a she. Yeah. Jamelia.
Once she focuses on it, though, you do a great job at riding to a beautiful spot. Now we're coming up to the house towards the end of the course. 3 minutes 4.
Lovely
expression.
Pace, yeah. Lovely,
stunning.
Out of the rhythm. Beautiful. I love the way she finishes as compared to the way she starts. And who cares about that little extra stride? Sometimes they meet it perfectly and you can enjoy yourself like the second last. Sometimes you're just not quite right. Just sit up, keep your legs on, and they usually pop in a little one. I have 3 F's in my dictionary: focus, footwork, and fun. And she has plenty of footwork. She's very good at it. And both of you look like you're having a lot of fun, so well done.
I hope you enjoyed watching that, guys. I tried to do as much replaying as I could just so that you could always see what was happening. I found it really useful to be watching the video and having the audio at the same time. I cannot believe how much I've taken from that video. Like I said at the start, I've got exercises I can be working at home. Jam's coffin canter, that was so useful to talk about. It's definitely a problem that Jam and I have. She struggles quite a lot to get back on her hindquarters and to get that small bouncy canter. So the tip of practicing that downhill was really useful, so that's certainly something that I'll be doing. An amazing tip was getting Jam to sort of learn to follow my eye and follow my movements so that she's always ready and looking for the next fence. Obviously at 80, the fences don't come up that fast, but I'm hoping to progress Jam up the levels, perhaps to novice one day, hopefully. The fences are going to come up thick and fast. There's a lot of sort of combinations where you're going to be changing direction. So getting Jam to learn to do that now is going to be so helpful in her future. So the exercise about having a fence and jumping it off the angle, off the long side of the arena, that is certainly something I'm going to be trying once we're back up and jumping after this lockdown. One last thing that I'm going to draw from watching it, I'm not going to bore you guys with the massive long list of things I've taken away, but the idea of the tube that Lucinda was talking about, so just having a better connection between hand and leg. I could certainly see it once it was being said and I was watching the video. I was like, oh my gosh, I can completely see that, especially when it's slowed down. You can just see there's these gaps in my round where I'm not connected with Jam, and that's where there's going to be issues, especially as the courses get more technical and bigger. If we've got these gaps where we're not communicating with each other, that's where we're going to start to have runouts and stops. It was really useful to hear that and to be able to see it as well. So that is certainly something I'm going to be working on, not just with Jam, but with all my horses, because I think that was incredibly important advice. So if you guys want to get involved with this, it is very easy. If you've ever had a round filmed by An Eventful Life, you can get involved. So you just need to head over to their website. The link will be in the description below. So you can use the search bar to look for yourself or to look for your horse. All of the rounds will come up that you've ever done. You might find a round from 5 years ago that you perhaps like analysing. I, for one, found it extremely useful to have it with Jam because obviously it was her first ever event. So it was amazing to get that feedback when she's still so green and we've got so much to learn. I think it'd be really useful if you perhaps progressed up a level, or if you're hoping to progress up a level in the future and you'd like a bit of feedback to make sure that you're going into that next level really strong and really prepared. Once you've found your video, or if you've already purchased a video in the past, you can then request audio. At the moment, it is just Lissa and Lucinda doing the voiceovers. However, there is going to be a team of world-class riders coming to the program, so definitely look out for who else is joining. So it's really simple. You can then request your audio. Within 5 working days, you will have an audio clip between 8 and 10 minutes long going over your round, which you can listen to whilst watching your round. So the price for this, guys, is £50. It might sound like a lot, but when you think about having a lesson with a world-class rider, it's a lot more than that. And obviously it's watching you in competition conditions. This is your most vulnerable state, which we never have coaching in. For us as riders, I think it is a really important tool that we can now use to have this coaching whilst at a competition where realistically we don't get a lot of feedback, and it's kind of how we analyse our rounds. And I know that Lissa and Lucinda picked up on a lot of things that I didn't on that round, even after I'd watched it myself. It certainly is an amazing opportunity to have some inside information on your competition rounds. Like I said, guys, the link to An Eventful Life is in the description below, so you can find everything you need there. You'll be able to find more information. Keep an eye out for other riders that come along to do it. I was just amazed by Lissa and Lucinda. I would certainly love to have another one done with them in the future if we ever get out eventing again. They picked up on so much, and I just know that I've got loads to go away and work on. I'm lucky that I have multiple rides out eventing, and the things they picked up on, some of them were really specific to Jam, but some of them were really specific to me as a rider. So I know it's going to be skills that I can transfer between my different horses. You can see how you do get a lot for your money in that respect, because you can transfer all of the things that you learn across all of your rides, and you can watch it back as many times as you like, so you're always learning from it. I'd like to say a massive thank you to An Eventful Life for doing this for me. This was a gifted product, so thank you so much for doing that. And of course, a massive thank you to Lissa and Lucinda. I cannot explain to you how useful that advice and those tips were for me. So I know when we get back out eventing that I'm going to feel really prepared for it after watching and listening to that. The final thank you goes to you guys for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and maybe you've learned something from it too, even though you weren't watching your rounds. Definitely go and check out An Eventful Life and see how you can get involved. Like I said in my previous video, they film rounds all around the UK, they also do Australia, and I've since found out they do some in New Zealand. So if you've competed in any of those countries, go and check them out and see if you're on their database. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.